Hi there, everyone, and welcome to another Mikey's Moment. It's been a while, life gets busy, and yeah, so I wish I could do more content. I'm gonna try. I keep saying that, but like I said, time. But this one's gonna be a little different. First of all, I have no outline, and I normally do. Second of all, someone very close to me and who I care about a lot told me that when I just kind of go off on my tangents and be passionate, and that's what the world needs is a little more of that, Mikey. So that's what I'm going to try to do for you today. Um, so if you're listening to the podcast, you can come see me at Zod1703 on my YouTube channel. And in my YouTube channel, I will link it to the podcast if you just want to listen. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time. This one might be all over the place for a while, but that's kind of the style I think I should go with because it's more me. And what I'm going to talk about today is the inconsistency of modern sports. And I'll really delve into that. And what I mean by the modern sports is I'm going to talk about the big ones here in America for anybody that might be listening around the world. I don't think I have anybody yet, but who knows? You never know. Here, the big ones are the National Football League, the National Basketball Association, the National Hockey League, and Major League Baseball. And then, of course, you have the college programs that are really big, which are usually basketball and football. So they kind of fall in line with the other ones. So I might touch on those, but I doubt it because, well, I probably will. Who knows? But let me start off with saying what I mean. This is my opinion. If you don't agree, feel free to comment. Feel free to talk. That's what I'm looking for. I like that interaction. So, the inconsistency of modern sports. So, I'm going to throw a little history out there because I do have a history. Let's go looking at the Romans and the Colosseum. They had the Colosseum, had a simple idea. Some guys get in there and they fight. And it wasn't super violent at first. But as it became popular, to make the games more exciting, they did. So you had them adding elements. The lions, the chariot races, and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually it came to Caesar going thumbs up or down, kind of violence. So, yeah. Now, am I saying that's what's going on now? No. But what's happening in the modern world is we're adding things to these games that are really simple. These games had simple rules. They were easy to follow. It was easy for the fan to follow. It was easy for the people playing. And over the years, they've done mucked that up. So I'll just go whichever kind of pops in here. Like I said, it's kind of hard for me. I ain't got an outline, but I'm going to try. Let's start with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball is the oldest of the professional sports. Been around since the 1880s. They're trying to modernize things. They've got a pitching clock now. They're trying to shorten the games, and I understand that. But your biggest problem with baseball, in my opinion, is 162 damn games. That's way too long. You're the boys of summer and you're playing in the middle of October when there's snow on the field. You need to shorten your season. You want to make your game more relevant? Shorten it. Speed it up. And do like they did in the past. In the past they played in the 200 innings. But I'll get back to that in a little while. I'm going to tie some things together with all the sports. But I think that's the biggest problem with baseball is you're just too damn long. You want to be more relevant. You want to get back to the power you had in the 40s and 50s. Make your season shorter so that it's more important for your fan. You're taking your fan out of it, and that's what's killing you. Now let's talk about the National Hockey League. They just announced they're getting rid of fighting. Why would you get rid of the one thing that makes you different? You don't get fighting you get fighting in football, but they got helmets and stuff on, and they're both kicked out of the game immediately. You got fighting in basketball, but it's two big guys whacking at each other with smacks usually, and there's nothing really exciting about that. You got baseball fighting. They clear the benches, and there's a lot of pushing and shoving, but rarely is there a punch exchange. But in hockey, there's actual fighting. Growing up in the era I did, I remember Bob Probert from the Detroit Red Wings. And I am a Detroit Red Wing fan. I ain't going to deny that. I root for them every year. It's been a rough couple years, after 24 years of nothing but playoffs, if you know what I'm saying. But no, fighting was part of it. Someone looks weird at Steve Eiserman and Bob Probert took care of business. And that is something that made your game different. It made the fans come in and go, "Ooh, look at that! They're getting chippy. When are they going to drop the gloves? When are they going to get on the ice and fight?" And now you're going to take it out? That makes no sense. Why take out the thing that makes you different? That's why the fans gravitate there. You want to be like the other guys. You want a fast-paced, high-scoring game. You want everybody to pretend they're Wayne Gretzky. I never liked Gretzky. All right? Yes, the greatest hockey player of all time, I didn't like because to me he wasn't a hockey player. But I digress. We'll get to that too, about the players. Then let's go to the National Basketball Association. They don't even follow their rules anymore. You know how many steps you're allowed to take? As many as the ref wants to give you, depending on what your name is. You're allowed to carry the ball. You're not allowed to play defense. It's ridiculous. And it's just, I don't understand it. I don't understand how you cannot enforce your own rules unless it helps somebody else, you know? And it's just, basketball used to be fundamental. Basketball used to be a sport, at least that I grew up on, because of the rules, the way it was. You'd be going this tight, close game, and somebody would lose it mentally up here, and he would travel and turn the ball over in this tight game. But they don't call that anymore. I don't get it. I don't understand. And then let's get to the real culprit here: the National Football League. The National Football League is the worst when it comes to rules. Inconsistent rules. We still don't know what the hell a catch is. And what's a football move? I'm sorry, if I turn around and take 2 steps, that's a move? But on a football field, it's not? So, yes, you've mucked the game up with your inconsistent rules. And then let's talk about the players. I said I'd get back to the players. You see, I came in what I would say the tail end of the great modern sports. I was born in 1970. I started falling in love with sports in 77, 78, somewhere in there. I loved them all, you know, sports was sports. And the players were what made the difference. Now, don't get me wrong. Nowadays, the modern players are amazing. They're some of the best athletes we've ever seen. They're stronger, they're faster, they've got better training, they eat healthier, all this kind of stuff. But they also have no heart. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 99.5% of these people have no heart. And what do I mean by that? I think it was bred because of the inconsistent rules. So, I understand. This is professional sport. They've got a limited window. They've got to make their money. I'm not holding that against them. I totally get that. You know? But, here's what I'm going to say. And then we're going to go to each sport. That's what I said. I would circle back. Baseball. Pitchers used to pitch 9 innings. They would use their arm. Look at Nolan Ryan. That man pitched 7 no-hitters. You don't pitch a no-hitter unless you pitch 9 innings. But now they're like, oh, they're going to go 4.5, 5 innings, maybe 6, even if they're pitching a no-hitter. Why? Because they got to rest that arm. They got to have this and that. And it's just so, I don't know if it's the management or the players, but I think a lot of these sports, injuries are due to the fact they don't practice as much. And yeah, I'm going to get onto that some more too. Hockey players, they're a different breed. I've seen a lot of guys play still injured and hurt. But they have taken steps to curb that. Because as you get farther away from my generation, we were taught you're either hurt or you're injured. If you're hurt, you play through it and you're good to go. If you're injured, you're no good to the team, you got to sit. So a lot of times, you might have been injured, but you'd be telling people you were hurt. Now that, in the long run, may not have been the best idea, but it was the heart thing again. And I'm talking about the heart. Remember, that's where this whole thing is going. Let's go to basketball. Load management. This is some of the most crazy, stupid bullshit I've ever heard. And I'm going to use this as an example. LeBron James. Some consider the greatest basketball player of all times, compared to Michael Jordan. That's like comparing apples to oranges. I understand that. But Michael Jordan played in an era where he had the Jordan rules from my beloved Detroit Pistons. And back then, you were allowed to play defense. That's the other thing. Nowadays, in all these sports, you're not allowed to play defense. It's like it's the bad word. It's like it's the F bomb, but with a D. I don't get it. So, back then, and this is what I'm going to talk about. LeBron, he gets cramp, feels like his hamstring's getting tight. He's going to take some load management and not play. I am a fan. I've come to watch LeBron, which I would never do. That's just being me, honestly. And I paid my ticket, and he ain't playing? Oh, I'm going to be pissed. But we go back to the day, and this is what I'm talking about, heart. Isaiah Thomas played Game 6 of the finals on a nearly broken ankle and scored 40-some points. Would LeBron play with a near broken ankle? And these guys practice hard every day. And here is the big thing, the National Football League. King of inconsistency. Back when I started watching professional football, they practiced every day with pads. They hit each other. They beat the living crap out of each other. Matter of fact, this happened at all levels. College football, high school football. When I started playing high school football, we had 2 days in August. Sweating, puking, all that kind of stuff. And if we were lucky, we got a scrimmage against other teams. And our coach would say, you know what, this is the best thing. We've been hitting and beating up on each other. Now let's go beat up on somebody else. And I, again, my opinion, personally believe that's why you're getting so many early injuries in the season. Because what happens is these guys don't beat up on each other. Your body gets used to getting beat up, so it recovers in a different way and faster. And they've taken that out of the game. So these guys get hurt. And I'm, as a Steeler fan, as you can see, I think that's why J.J. Watt got hurt in the first game. Because they were trying to manage it. And his body wasn't at its full game ready to go. And he tore his pec. He tore his pec because his pec wasn't used to the strain and tear that it was meant to have on it playing that game at that level. Now, I'm no doctor, and I may be wrong, and I don't care, but that's the way I see it. That's the way I've seen these things going. And I understand. They're professionals. But they also understand the risk. And I just don't think... I think your body is designed to take punishment. And as it takes that punishment, it kind of, embraces it maybe? That's the word I'm looking for. I could be wrong, but you go back into the Steelers run when they won 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, a lot of their big stars didn't have a whole lot of injuries. They had some hurts and pains, may have missed a couple games, but they were relatively healthy because they would beat up on each other in practice. And that just, it seems to make no sense to me that these guys take time off. Where's your heart? Play the damn game. And yes, you might get hurt, but guess what? You might not either. You don't know. That's what happens when you take the field or court. Or ice. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. So play the damn game. And sports has become soft in my opinion. And it's not supposed to be. Sports is supposed to be, like I started the whole thing with, a gladiator battle. We, the common person, we watch these sports and live through these guys. And I would rather field an entire team of guys with heart and get my ass whipped every time, knowing that they gave everything they had to win, than superstars. I don't like superstars. I never have. And don't get me started on the modern quarterback. I'm sorry, the modern quarterback would never survive 30 years ago. And the guys from 30 years ago would thrive. Can you imagine Bradshaw, Staubach, Montana, Aikman, these guys who didn't have the protection that these modern quarterbacks have? They would have tore people apart because they played with heart. I mean, You see an occasional bloody nose or something from a quarterback. Well, Bradshaw was getting blasted three after he threw the ball 3 seconds later. Staubach would scramble and someone would clothesline him. I mean, these guys did not have that protection, but they also didn't get hurt. They might get the occasional concussion, ask Troy Aikman, but they didn't get destroyed. It's because they were football players that happened to play the quarterback position. And that's my last thing about the inconsistency of sports. Depending on who and where you are. And what I mean by that is, if you're a quarterback, you have a different standard than everybody else. If you're a superstar on an NBA team and your name's above the marquee, you have different rules than everybody else. And it's very similar to like that in hockey. Baseball, where do you play? Are you a Yankee or a Red Sox? You're not going to get the same call that the guys out in San Diego are going to get because you're not in the super level marquee. And that's the biggest thing is you quarterbacks out there, if you're listening, which someday I hope you are, you're a football player first, and you happen to play the quarterback position. Remember that. So get ready to get hit. Buckle down and be a damn football player. Yes, you were playing the marquee position, and people are coming at you, they're headhunting and so forth. Well, you know that. That's why you want to play the quarterback. You want to be the superstar. Well, in my book, superstars have heart. Same thing with all the other sports. You want to be the superstar, then play the game. If you're playing hockey and you want to be that star center scoring 50 plus points a year, get ready to throw down because maybe some defenseman who's supposed to protect you is not going to be able to at that moment. So you're going to have to protect yourself. Baseball, someone pitches at your head, charge that mound. Let them show that, hey, and if you're a pitcher who's going to throw at somebody's head, get ready to defend yourself. And then basketball, if you're going to be that marquee player, then you know what? Follow the rules. Don't carry the damn ball. Don't travel. Use your fundamentals. Play the sport of basketball. I don't want to watch a dunk fest. I don't want to watch a human highlight reel. I don't want to see that. I want to see a game. I want to see a complete game. And that brings me to this. Defense. Defense wins championships. I say it all the time. Except for the fact is, you're not allowed to play defense anymore. And this is going to be the end of my video here. And I'm going to use the National Football League because that's my favorite. And, well, here it is. James Harrison, Pittsburgh Steelers, won Defensive Player of the Year. He was amazing. Crazy good. 2 years later, he was fined and threatened to be suspended. Why? Because of a hit. What's funny is, he didn't change the way he hit. And 2 years ago, you gave him an award. Why? Because you changed the rules. You changed the rules to help your marquee quarterbacks, your receivers, your offense, making it even tougher on the defense. And he was penalized because he hit a defenseless receiver. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a defensive receiver. James Harrison followed the rules, 100%. He went in, he kept his head up, and he drove his shoulder into his target. His target was the midsection, between the belly button to the neck. He was going to hit him in the chest, as he was taught. What happened is the receiver caught the ball. He saw James Harrison. He tucked himself up into a ball to protect himself, hence not being defenseless. Because how can you be defenseless if you know how to protect yourself? Isn't that what protecting means? Lowering his head to now where James Harrison had targeted. They collided, head to head, and the penalty was assessed on the defense, even though it was 100% the offense's fault. And that has now become the standard rule. And also, you can't hit somebody unless he makes a football move and finishes the process as a catch. If he catches the ball, turns upfield, takes a step. I'm sorry, if I catch a ball, turn, and take a step, I'm making a move, correct? Is it a football move? No, it's a move. So when does a football move differ from a move? And this is as an example from the National Football League and their inconsistency. I won't even talk about the gambling because that's a whole different social issue. So what is a basketball move? What is a baseball move? What is a hockey move? A hockey move, a baseball move, a basketball move, and a football move are simple movements. And if you want to muck up the rules and be inconsistent, that's fine. But what you've done is you've taken the momentum out of the game and you've made it difficult for the fans to back some things. Now, this may not make a difference, and that's not what I really want to do. I just want to get my opinion out there, hopefully foster some discussion, and maybe enjoy sports again. And I do enjoy sports. I love watching them, I love talking about them, and most of all, I love the fact that I can live vicariously Sunday afternoons, Tuesday evenings, whenever I catch a game. And I will make no bones about it. When it comes to football, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I will always root for them. But I do love to watch the game. I will even say against the hated Ravens, if a great play is made by someone on their team, I'll say, man, that's one hell of a football play. I'm a Philadelphia Philly fan. And when I watch them play, I will root for them. But again, if I see someone hit a monster home run or make a spectacular catch, as a fan of sports, I'll say, damn, that was a good play. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a Detroit Red Wings fan. And if I watch them and they get their asses handed to them by the Oilers or the Avalanche, and there's some great goaltending or something, again, as a fan, I will appreciate the play. And the same with the Detroit Pistons. I love my Pistons, bottom dwellers, hopefully get the number one draft pick. Never know what that stupid NBA lottery, there's another thing I never understood. Don't get it? It should be the worst record gets the first pick. Go look at the National Football League. Let them trade it away. They don't want it. Don't get me wrong. As I said earlier, LeBron James is an amazing athlete. I just don't think he has heart. And that's my opinion. You want to be the greatest ever? Then be the greatest ever. Michael Jordan didn't take time off. Michael Jordan got beat up by the Detroit Pistons, and he even said himself it made him and the Bulls a better team. Why? Because they had to face defense. They had to face adversity. And that's what sports is about, being adverse. Going up against other teams, but most of all, going up against yourself. And that's what makes sports great. That's what connects us, because we have heart. When I see somebody who shouldn't win, that's great. When I see somebody who should win give up, that's not great. So this has been a Mikey moment. And again, if you don't agree, put it in the comments. If you do agree, that's great too. If you have a different point of view and you want to talk about it, let's do that. As always, take care, and remember, you don't know what moments are going to be out there, so embrace them. Take care.